Congressman John Campbell, retired, used to represent Southern California, joins me. Through the Chaos is Look Through Chaos is his Twitter handle. Look Through Chaos, and the Substack is what, John?
Substack isn't up yet, but the website is lookthroughthechaos.com.
All right, now
www.lookthroughthechaos.com. I'll get the Substack set up soon.
You got to get rolling. And he and Dwayne are launching a podcast next year sometime, or maybe earlier, depends on when they get their
It may actually be next week.
Yeah, we don't know. But John Campbell, Jim Garrity just failed Punditry 101. He had pundit block. You know, there's writer's block and there's pundit block. Ask him a perfectly acceptable, made-for-cable TV question for a pundit, and he froze. So here, I'm going to try you to see if you got pundits block. I am betting on a five-way race. Biden and Harris. Let's use Trump with his vice president being Tom Cotton, since that's my pick. But you can name anyone you want, because it doesn't matter, that vice president. Number 3 is going to be Nikki Haley and Tim Ryan as the no labels candidate. Number 4 is Bobby Kennedy Jr. Number 5 is Cornel West. What's the popular vote percentage breakdown?
Okay. If I take that right now and realize, what is it, 6 months before people start voting, or 7 months, I think?
Yep.
So the election's actually getting closer than we think, but...
This is called buying time. It's buying time by John Campbell, because he's got pundit block too.
No, it's not pundit block at all. I'm simply stating, when I give an answer, I want people to understand the context of the answer, that things could change between now and November. But based on what I see right now, I think Donald Trump would win that election, and he would win it with, though, what?
I asked percentage of the popular vote for the 5 tickets, and you're stalling.
I'm getting there. No, I'm getting there. The problem is that I'm probably not.
How did you ever ask the captivating Mrs. Campbell out on a date? If you take like 8 hours to get to asking her out on a date, how do you ever close a car deal if you can't get to the price?
It took the captivating Mrs. Campbell, it took a number of dates before she would say yes. So I guess maybe that's what's happening here. But I think Trump wins with a low 40s, beats Biden by 2 to 3%, and those other people get anywhere from. By the way, I'm not sure Nikki Haley runs on no labels, but the other candidates get somewhere between, the biggest one is RFK Jr., and I think he probably gets 7, 6, something like that, and the others get something less than that. But I think it's an election where the winner has the low 40s in terms of the percentage of vote, which means almost 60% of the people will vote for someone else, which in my opinion sets up for 2025 being an even more chaotic year than this year or last year has been, as 60% of the people, or nearly 60% of the people, wanted somebody other than who wins.
You know, the reason I bring this up is I do think Nikki Haley. I listened with former National Security Advisor Robert C. O'Brien, another former member of Congress, another former member of the Trump National Security Team. I spent the weekend playing golf and talking with these guys about politics and Trump, and they're all Trumpers, so it's okay. I'm in Switzerland. But I listened to Nikki Haley with them, and I kept saying, this is a no-labels speech. This is a no-labels speech. I think she's going to accept their offer, and they got to find a Democrat, and I think Tim Ryan's the best one they could come up with, and I hadn't said yes. But that's not an insignificant ticket.
No, it wouldn't be. No labels, in my opinion, had a really good opportunity, given the number of people who don't like either Biden or Trump, to really carve a significant place in this election. But nobody votes for the party. People vote for the candidate. People vote for the person. And there's no candidate. There's no person. And we're only a few months away. There's a lot of states they're not on the ballot yet, and they can't just put the party on the ballot. They need candidates. And I think they somehow, and maybe it's just because they couldn't do it. We all thought it was going to be Manchin Hogan, and now we know it's not going to be either Manchin or Hogan. And so maybe they haven't been able to get anybody, and maybe they're just waiting, and maybe this strategy will work. But I think they needed to have candidates 5 months ago if they really wanted to carve out something that was successful. Now, the thing is, if it's Nikki Haley and Ryan or anybody else, that is currently a Republican or a Democrat, and a well-known one, there'd be no point in running anybody else, goes on that ticket, they're basically writing off the party they used to be with. So they're leaving that party, which is a significant move politically for those people to do that.
Well, that's what, when George H.W. Bush ran against Reagan, and we're both old enough to remember that, they never broke with the party. And Ron DeSantis, when he conceded, did not break with the party. Nikki Haley is breaking with the party now. Did you hear her concession speech?
I did not, actually, no.
It is clearly not. I'm not getting on the Trump team again. I'm not going to be part of a second term. I'm not going to campaign. It's clearly breaking with the party. And I thought to myself, she's burning the boats. And if she does burn the boats, no labels, let me turn my. And so we were talking no labels again with 3 former Trumpers. It's not going to be Joe Manchin. He doesn't want to get beat up as vice president. It's got to be someone who's slipped from the eye but is credible. And so I came up with Tim Ryan as a center-right Democrat, center-left Democrat. You worked with Tim. Would he be as good as they could get?
Yeah, I agree with you. And also, he has been critical of Joe Biden, which is rare on the Democratic side. They rarely criticize their own because they're collectivists. They're the union shop. You don't criticize the union when you're in the union. But he is, and so he's doing that. And being from Ohio is probably helpful in that, assuming no labels could be on a ballot like that, he could probably gather some momentum in his home state. I don't know that Nikki Haley could make much of a dent in South Carolina.
I don't know which state they would win, but they would. I think they would get more than 10% of the vote now. I think they'd be in John Anderson territory.
Yeah, well, maybe you're right. Perhaps 10% with Nikki Haley there. I mean, I know a bunch of Republicans now that are supporting her. They're very anti-Trump. They're what I would call the more traditional business country club type Republicans. Again, not a pejorative, simply a description of a Republican Party of several decades ago that isn't the mainstream and isn't the majority of the Republican Party today. But they're not happy with Trump. They're not happy with the populist move and direction of the Republican Party. And they're still throwing money at Nikki Haley. I mean, they were as of last week. And so, yeah, if she went no labels, would they throw money over there because they don't like either Trump or Biden? Probably would. I had initially ruled it out because I just thought Nikki Haley wouldn't be one to bolt from the party. But maybe you're right. Maybe she will.
All right, now let's talk a little bit about what the effect of the Manhattan trial is going to be. Donald Trump's going to be in the dock in March for 3-4 weeks. 31 counts stacked, all of them built off the payment to Stormy Daniels. It should be barred by the statute of limitations. It's been revived by a crazy theory that Alvin Bragg can use a theoretical federal crime that does not exist and has not ever been prosecuted to support his extension of the statute of limitations. But I think they'll convict Trump because of the Manhattan jury. What's the effect of that trial going to be? Because they're going to talk about Stormy Daniels every day for 5 weeks.
I know the left still believes, and the Biden people still believe, that if they convict Trump of anything, any of these 4 or 5, whatever it is, trials that they've got going on, that is going to hurt him in the general, and that there are people who will not vote for someone who's been convicted of a crime or judged liable in a civil case or whatever it may be. And thus far, the record doesn't show that. The record shows that the more they go after Trump for these frivolous and basically, in my view, they are all frivolous, except perhaps for the documents case in Florida. But if he's guilty there, then Joe Biden is guilty, and so is Hillary Clinton. So the rest of these are entirely frivolous. And the record so far is showing that the more they pursue these things, it actually gets Trump more support because people see him as emblematic of them. And that when they go after him unjustly, it's proof that they will go after them. They will go after me, unjustly. And it has strengthened his support amongst his base.
Are you telling us they're investigating you, John?
Not yet. No, not yet. I'm
Okay, just checking.
I'm sure it will be coming. That was the royal we, the royal me, if you will. I was trying to say as a general voter out there, but no, not yet, not to my knowledge at least. But their thought is that for independents, that for the suburban women that are very skeptical of Trump, et cetera, and of Biden actually, that this will sway them, and they'll say, no, I can't do that. I'll go with Joe Biden. I don't like the border. I don't like the economy. I don't like a bunch of stuff that's going on, foreign policy, et cetera, but I can't vote for somebody who's been convicted of something. And there's probably some truth to that too. Bottom line, in my view, is I don't think that conviction sways the election strongly one way or the other.